your compliments.
Oh, hello. Welcome to International Pro Wrestling's A Visit with the Doc. Because of my vast fortune, which I've made through my athletic career, I was just reading a little bit about investments. And you notice it's different when I read than when you people read because my lips don't move. But let's move on today and talk about some of the things going on in international professional wrestling. First of all, my least favorite subject, Odell Buckingham. Don't you feel like you ought to gargle after you say that name? But he keeps winning. I don't know how he keeps winning week after week after week. It's either two things. Number one, dumb luck, which means he's going to have luck that's dumb is going to be Odell, or the fact that his opponents are so bad, they're putting him in with people who can easily beat. Now, you notice Odell hasn't been in a match with me. You notice Odell hasn't even come on this set for A Visit with the Doc to even talk with me in a battle of wits. But of course, again, as you know, to quote an old saying, the battle of wits, Odell's out of ammunition anyway. But he's been winning, and I don't understand it. But sooner or later, he will meet me, and that winning streak will stop. His so-called career will stop, and you all will not have to put up with him anymore. I know you're all thinking to yourself, Doc, you know, watching Odell wrestle is a waste of TV tape. We could be doing something better with that TV tape, like listening to you, hearing you sing, hearing you play some sort of fine musical instrument, hearing you give your interpretation of Shakespeare. I know. We've got a lot of letters asking for that Shakespeare interpretation. And hopefully on one of the upcoming shows we're going to be having, I'll probably do a little brief segment from Hamlet for the classical people out there. For those of you who are watching this right now who are the typical wrestling fan, Hamlet is a play. Okay? Do y'all have that down? Okay. Enough said. Also on this show, we have Johnny Malibu. And I personally know Johnny Malibu has never even been to California. How he got that name, I don't know. They pulled him out of a cornfield in Iowa, Kansas, Nebraska. It's all the same up there anyway, okay? And they pulled him out there and they gave him a name. You look at him. Now, I'm from California. And you can tell when you look at this body, you can say, Doc, not only do you have a fine body and a fine mind, you're probably a rollerblades champion too, aren't you? Yeah, I am, but I'm really too modest to talk about that right now. Johnny Malibu is not from California. You can tell he's never been near the ocean, never been near a gym. Tell by the way he combs his hair, he's certainly never been near a mirror. They brought him in, and I don't know why. He's going to be wrestling this week, I guess because somebody somewhere in International Pro Wrestling owes somebody a favor, because there's no way this guy should have even ever been allowed in International Professional Wrestling. He's not from California. He's a disgrace to California. Probably never even eaten a bowl of granola in his life. Has no body. Doesn't have the beautiful, golden, rich California tan that I'm so famous for. As I remembered, I was sitting there the other day. I don't like to throw names around, but George Hamilton came up to me and asked me how I got such a gorgeous tan. And I had to give him my secrets. But again, Johnny Malibu, another loser. Now you people this week are in for a big treat. No, not the Hamlet soliloquy. That's coming up later. The famous wrestler, Olympian superstar, Bill Ash, William Ash, will be coming up, and myself, to wrestle the Indians. Now, I hate to wrestle the Indians because I feel like I should be wearing rubber gloves, but unfortunately, international professional rules do not allow that. I'm not sure whether I'm even going to dress out to wrestle the Indians because they're so lousy wrestlers. I may come out in a smock. But Bill Ash and I are going to give the rest of the Indians a wrestling lesson. Their first and their last. You're going to see Bill Ash and I go in there and do incredible a bunch of holds. Half Nelsons, full Nelsons, Aussie Nelsons, holds you've probably never even seen before. It's going to be a wrestling education. It's going to be like a wrestling encyclopedia of holds. You're going to see the Indians do a bunch of things too. Cry, scream, beg, whimper, and they're real good at whimpering, okay? Matter of fact, the biggest problem Bill Ash and I are going to have is keeping these people in the ring. I don't even think they're going to show up. When they came in to make their X's on the line for the contract, they had to bring him in. Their handler had to bring him in, trainer, whatever you call him, had to bring him in. We had to have him sit there. And they were kind of sitting around the studio and stuff, and they were scared by electricity and electric lights, so they were kind of looking around the studio. And their eyes, their good eye, happened to fall upon William Ash and I sitting over there. We were in tuxedos, and we had some starlets and stuff. We just gotten out from a Broadway premiere, and they saw us. And you should have seen the look of abject horror fall across their faces. Now, it wasn't instant abject horror because, as we all know, the Indian nervous system does not work quite as fast as the average nervous system, so it took a while for the impulse to get to from the eye to the brain. First of all, in the Indians, the impulses come from the eye and go directly to the stomach. That's why they put things in their mouth when they first get it, much like some sort of animal to look at it and taste it and things like that. Then we had them come in, and they saw us. As you see up there right now, it's not a picture of roadkill. It's an actual picture of Bear and Eagle, the Indians. As I said before, when Bill and Ash and I were supposed to wrestle them, they came in, they saw us, and they had a look of horror across their faces. Again, it wasn't an instant look of horror because the Indian nervous system is far inferior to the nervous system of professional wrestlers such as Bill and I. As a matter of fact, when they can't get an earthworm to use some sort of RNA, DNA experiment, they use an Indian nervous system because it's about the same thing. So they looked at us, and they instantly it took them a while to be scared because the Indian nervous system goes from the eye, instantly bypasses what we laughingly call the brain, and it goes directly to the stomach. That's why when you hand them an object, if they're not familiar with it, they will put it in their mouth immediately to identify it. So when they realized they were having to wrestle us, which took about 5 to 7 minutes of explaining, talking to them sign language, graphs, charts, and slides to get it through their thick skulls, they were so scared they ran out of the auditorium. Now, frankly, the match has been signed. Will they show up? I don't know. Right now, if we're lucky, they're probably using some sort of enticement to get them into the ring, such as a cattle prod or something, for all I know. Bill, Ash, and I will be there. The two best wrestlers in wrestling today will be in there to give a scientific wrestling lesson to two people who are actually this much above savages. Coming up, 6-man tag match, Bill Ash, Doc Savage, end of the Indians on International Pro Wrestling.